Hello and welcome everyone. So in this video, we are going to create some supporting classes for the ability system component. Specifically, we are going to create attribute set class in this project. So just navigate to your content browser and then go to File, New C++ class, and we're going to choose a class of attribute set. Next, and just rename this to base attribute set, hit public, and then click create class. So once again, this is going to take a while to compile. So once it's done, we return to this video. Okay, so once the file is open, we are going to start as usual by adding some header files. Include ability system component. And inside of header file, we are going to actually define few of our attributes that are going to be used. Specifically, we are going to define health, mana, and stamina. And for this, just open this file. So keep forgetting the syntax. At the very end, you'll see we have this. Just copy this, and we're going to copy this into our own file. Paste this and remove these stars. And once this is done, we're going to start our file. It's going to be public, and first we're going to define our constructor, this attribute set, and we might not use this in this tutorial, but in the future we may require this. Let's go with this. And next we're going to define a few attributes. Going to be attributes for health, attributes for mana, and next we'll have attributes for stamina. And these are just comments. This is not the way to define an attribute. Don't worry, it's not that simple. So for health, we're going to expose this to blueprints as well. So we can go U property, and this is going to be edit anywhere and blueprint read write, and category will be base attribute, and this is going to be of the type F gameplay attribute data, and this is going to be health. And similarly, we're going to define its accessor. We're going to go attribute accessor. This is going to be U base attribute set, comma health. And we'll just copy this, create another attribute for health, and this is going to be called max health, and this one is max health. So the reason why we're doing this is that this attribute data does not have a way of telling the max and min values, and we'll be using this max health as clamping value for attribute. Now just copy and paste this for mana, and one more for stamina. Rename this to mana. This one to max mana. Similarly over here, and this one will be stamina. This one will be stamina, and this one is going to be max stamina. Similarly, this one max stamina. And so we have defined our attributes for health, mana, and stamina. And next, what we're going to do is actually define a function that's going to trigger when one of our attributes has changed, and it will notify us inside of our character class. So we're going to do void post gameplay effect execute, and it's going to be the type const struct, and it's going to be f gameplay effect mod callback data, and it's going to be also data, and we need to override this. So now we have defined our attributes, and we need to define this function inside of our CPP file. we'll create an implementation of this. Oh, before that we might need to create a blank implementation for our constructor. We'll not be using this, but in the future we might require this, and we'll get implementation of this. And we're going to need some header files over here as well. So hash include gameplay effect.h and hash include gameplay effect extension.h. And once that's done, we're going to type over here super post gameplay effect execute, and it's going to take data. And now we're going to check if one of our health, mana, stamina has changed, and we're going to clamp that between 0 and the max value. We just type out if data dot evaluated data dot attribute equals to get health attribute, and if this is true, what we're going to do is set health between 0 and max value, clamp, and this is going to be get health, and we're going to clamp this between 0 and get max health. And now just copy this for mana and stamina, change this to get mana attribute and set mana between get mana, get mana and get max mana. And similarly this is going to be stamina and get stamina. This might be, this is going to get max stamina. So this is it for the base attribute set class, and now we're going to move on to the get mana attribute. Okay, and dot attribute. This is mistake, or this is dot attribute. This is not plural, it's going to be singular. And yep, I think this is about it. So once this file is done, what we want to do is actually tell our character class to use this attribute set inside of it. Moving on to our base character.h file, first what we want to do is forward declare our character and base attribute class, and u base attribute set. And similarly we're going to define the header file in the cpp file hash include base attribute set.h. and moving back to the header file, first what we're going to do is actually define our attribute set component. So it's going to be at the end of file type u property, and this is going to be visible anywhere, and blueprint read write, and category will be base character, and this is going to be also type const class u base attribute set pointer, and it's going to be base attribute set comp. And similarly we're going to define a few functions that are going to expose our attributes to our blueprints. We can u function, and this is going to be blueprint pure, and category will be base what's happened to my typing, character, and this is going to be void get health values, and this is going to be float ampersand health and float ampersand max health. So once this is done, we're going to similarly copy and paste this for mana and stamina. Now change these to get mana values and just name this to mana, and this one is going to be max mana. Similarly, we'll have one for stamina. This is going to be stamina, and this one is going to be max stamina. So once this is done, what we're going to do is actually define a few more functions for actually to be triggered when one of these attributes has changed, and this will call this function, and that is going to call another function inside of our character file. So it's going to be of the type void on health change native, should be capital, and this is going to be const f on attribute change data, and this is going to be data. So we're going to copy this for our other attributes like mana and stamina. These functions are not going to be exposed to blueprints, but these functions are going to actually trigger some events inside of blueprints. We're going to define below. So type u function, then this one is going to be blueprint implementable event, and category will be base character. This is going to be of the type void on health changed, and this is going to take float. Float is going to be old value and float new value. Now copy and paste this for mana and stamina. This is going to be on mana changed. This one is going to be on stamina change. I think this is about it for the header file. Now moving on to the CPP file, what we're going to do is actually inside of our begin play, we're going to initialize our base attribute set. We're going to say if ability system component is a valid thing, what we're going to do is set our base attribute set component to ability system component get set, and set it with u base attribute set. And next we're going to define our bindings when one of our attributes has changed. So ability system component get gameplay attribute value change delegate. This is going to take base reset component and get health attribute, and after this add u object, and this is going to be this and %a base character and on health change native. This is a quite a long function name, sorry about that. And similarly we're going to just copy this and paste it for mana and one for stamina. Change this to get mana, and this is going to be triggering our mana function, and we're going to bind one to our stamina, and we're going to bind this to our stamina change native, and this is for the begin play. And now we're going to actually do is start implementing these functions. for the get health values, what I'm going to do is say health is equal to base attribute component and get health, and similarly max health will be equal to base attribute component get max health. So this implements similarly for mana and one for stamina. Just copy this portion. Actually, we're going to say over here mana is equal to base attribute get mana, and similarly max mana is equal to base attribute get max mana, and similarly for stamina it's going to be base attribute get stamina, and max stamina will be equal to base attribute get max stamina. Now we need to define these functions actually, but for now, and these C++ functions are just going to call these blueprint function. In the future you might want to add some functionality like the player is dead, block the inputs, and something like player is out of mana and do something when the player is out of mana. So for now, but these functions are just simply going to trigger our blueprint events. So we'll just call those on health changed. You say data dot old value and data dot new value, and we're going to do this similarly for mana and one for stamina. Inside of our mana changed, we're going to say on mana changed. We're going to just paste this, and similarly for on stamina changed, simply data dot old value and data dot new value. So I think this is about it. Let's go ahead and try to compile this, and we'll return to the video once it's done. So our code has compiled successfully. Let's try to launch the engine and test it out. Go to debug and start without debugging. So engine has loaded and we are in our third-person character file. So just to check things, we say base attribute set com. We have this, and we should have get health values, and similarly we have get mana values and get stamina values. So we have these three functions to retrieve our values, and we also have on health change and on mana change and on stamina changed. We have these functions inside of our blueprints, and if you expand this, we have get health, these attributes, and get mana, max mana, stamina, max stamina. So this is it for this video, and in the next video we're going to do an explanation of our C++ code, and after that we're going to start actually implementing some of the abilities for gameplay. Specifically we're going to be focusing on melee ability for our character. So thank you very much.